The confrontation between Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, and Jesus Christ is one of the strangest encounters in history. Nearly 2,000 years later, it still has power to disturb us. During the night, Jesus had been arrested by the chief priests in Jerusalem, and very early in the morning, they brought him to court. Pilate followed the usual procedure. "What is the charge against this man?" "We found this man misleading the people, telling them not to pay taxes to Caesar, and claiming that he's the Messiah." Pilate knew what was happening. The priests were using him against someone they saw as a threat, and he did not care for it. He knew that the chief priests were jealous of the preacher, but from this moment, Jesus was in the custody of the Romans. The decision lay with Pilate, and Pilate alone. "Are you the king of the Jews?" said Pilate. "Your own people and the chief priests have brought you to me. What have you done wrong?" "My kingdom does not belong to this world," said Jesus. "So, you are a king then? You say that I am a king, and you are right. I was born for this reason. I came into the world for this cause, that I should speak for the truth." "Truth?" said Pilate. "What is truth?" Pilate decided he would not give way to the priests. He would uphold the dignity of Rome. "I find him not guilty." The charge against Jesus had failed. But the priests were not put off so easily. He creates unrest among the people, preaching all across Judea, starting in Galilee and all the way here. Galilee? That was Pilate's way out. Galilee was not his province. Galilee was under the rule of Herod Antipas. Let Herod make the decision. Let him serve the interests of the priests. It was perfect. And because Herod Antipas was visiting the city, the case could be transferred right away. It even served political purposes. Herod and Pilate had not been friends. This gesture by Pilate was a diplomatic compliment. It would serve him well and cost him nothing. Herod was fascinated to see the famous miracle worker, but he did not want to be trapped between the priests and the people. To execute so popular a preacher who had committed no crime? That would be stupidity. He made fun of Jesus, dressed him in a gaudy robe, and sent him back to Pontius Pilate. At the palace, a crowd was gathering. Perhaps Pilate could use the people to embarrass the priests and let Jesus go. "You brought this man to me as someone misleading the nation. But I found nothing in him deserving death, and neither did Herod. But you have a custom that I should set someone free at the Passover. Do you want me to release the king of the Jews, or the criminal Barabbas?" It was an insult to the priests, and the crowd took it badly. They wanted Barabbas. Pilate decided he would not kill Jesus, but he would punish him, and then he would let him go. Pilate would show them the king of the Jews, Roman army style. This is what the Romans thought of Jewish kings. "Behold the man! Look at him!" "We have a law," said the priests, "and by that law he must die, because he claims to be the Son of God." Who was this prisoner, this Jesus? Why would he not defend himself? "Don't you understand? I have power to release you, and I have power to crucify you." Jesus was unmoved. "The only power you have against me is what has been given to you from above." As Pilate came out, the priests were ready for him. "If you let this man go, you are not Caesar's friend. Whoever makes himself a king speaks against Caesar." Trouble with the emperor in Rome was the one thing Pilate could not afford. He took his place in the judgment seat. Once more, he appealed to the crowd. "Which of the two do you want me to release to you? Jesus or Barabbas?" Again, it was Barabbas. "What shall I do with Jesus?" "Take him away! Crucify him!" Pilate called for water. If he could not beat the priests in their political game, at least he would make their victory shameful. But washing his hands was a meaningless gesture, and it changed nothing. Only he could pronounce the death sentence and sign the document, and now he was ready to do it. "I am not responsible for this man's death," he said. "You must take the blame." What did Pontius Pilate think he was doing with Jesus? First, he acquitted him. Then he asked Herod Antipas to make the decision. And finally, he asked the crowd, "What will you do with Jesus?" And then he washed his hands as if that could change anything. In the end, the decision was his decision. It was Pontius Pilate who sentenced Jesus to be crucified. Well, that was 2,000 years ago. What about us? We don't have to make that kind of choice today, do we? But when Jesus Christ makes a claim on our lives to be our Saviour and our King, sometimes his claim is in conflict with other interests. So what do? We try to avoid a decision. We don't want to reject him, but if we accept him as Lord, it could be inconvenient. So what do we do?